them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
For another round of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. My name is Paul Smith, with me Peter Mackay, and we are delighted to bring you one of our special rounds of this series from Zandvoort in the Netherlands. And Peter, it's a classic circuit, is this? Drivers don't always seem to like it though, in terms of being able to try and overtake here, so qualifying's a big important part of this.
I think it will be, but it is just such a pleasure to drive at Zandvoort. It cuts through in between the sand dunes, right on the coast of the Netherlands, and it is just a wonderful circuit. And we're now in the new version of it, the new kind of Formula 1 version of it, with the big banking for the Arie Luijendijk corner. It's going to be cracking to watch.
It certainly is. It's going to be an evening that you won't want to forget. A 30-minute race to start with, and then a 1-hour race to follow that up after a spin of the reverse grid wheel. So stick around for that and all of the action. 42 drivers are going to be taking part in this one. Around Zandvoort, we're into the second quarter of the season here. We had the Algarve, then Silverstone, then Jerez. Now, it's Zandvoort Suzuka for an endurance round next week, which I'm really looking forward to. And then Misano to finish off the halfway point of the season. Long Beach, Spa-Francorchamps and Le Mans. And then the final quarter of the season, it's going to be Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, Road America and Daytona. And speaking of the season, it is the Pro Championship led by Alex Davidson. He's had a really strong start to the season. 3 wins so far this season over Josh Thompson's 1 win. 92-point lead currently between those two. Victor Wolfson for Bayos Simsport in 3rd ahead of James Boumet. And then Anders Meyer, Nathan Moore, Alex Gall, Gabriel Erdelay, and then Dennis Grabowski and Michael Evdoka round out your top 10 there. Michael Gray, well, he's leading the Pro-Am standings by 54 points ahead of Rhys Saunders, who has been moved up into Pro-Am. He was so dominant in Am that even after being moved up, he's only 54 points behind in 2nd place. Jeremy Rushworth 3rd ahead of Joe Newman, Adam Watson, Paul Webster, Andy Archer, Josh Boot, Jake Blackhall and Phil Samways rounding off the top 10. In Am, it's a bit closer at the top of the standings, though. Jesse Payne-Wilkins just 18 points clear over Ben Altria, with Adam Locke and Jonathan Walker the next two. Simon Andre Livingston ahead of Ben Bennyworth, Adam Hedgecock, Matt Kelton, Lee King McGee, and then Andrew Fairley rounding out the top 10. In your teams championships, the pro teams, it's 119 points separating WSR Esport Bug Kicker and Altitude Esports by 3M. WSR Esports are in 3rd ahead of Bayos Simsport, with Altitude Esports by Simstickers in 5th ahead of Racing Lab Esports powered by Ford, Atomic Esports Evo, KRD, Racing Lab Esports and Prestanda Nomad. Then in the Pro-Am teams, it is Full Tilt Motorsport leading that one by 229 points over the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. Full Tilt Competition in 3rd ahead of Atomic Esports in 4th. Quatermass Motorsport, DCW Racing, Boosted Motorsports, Full Tilt Racing, Tech Sport Academy by AMS and Writer Engineering Esports round out your 10 teams in Pro-Am. So that's how things stand right now. And right now in qualifying, Peter, it's Alex Davidson who is leading that over James Boumet.
It is Davidson's amazing start to the season, just continuing now on pole provisionally by 0.106 of a second. Davidson's just been fantastic, taking full advantage of that really shrewd decision by WSR Esports to go for the Porsche 911 GT3R. It's the car to have at the moment. It seems not many other teams have gone for it, but it's they've seen something that nobody else did, and it's given them that edge in that first quarter of the season, and a big championship lead, 92 points. Davidson leads from Josh Thompson, who is serving a qualifying ban. He's going to start right in the back of the pack.
I was speaking to Adam Watson about the subject of the Porsche. Of course, he won his Pro-Am championship in a Porsche. He'd stuck with a Porsche for many, many seasons, but he's moved across to the Audi. He's not sure yet whether he's made the right choice in the Audi or whether he should have stayed with the Porsche. Sometimes it's better to go with a car that you know rather than going along with the whole rest of the team.
I'm a firm believer that if there's a car that you really like the way it feels and the character, yes, the balance of performance go back and forth all the time, but it's the way it feels underneath you, and all the cars have different driving dynamics. They have quite different configurations. The Audi that James Boumet is really hustling right now, big 5.2 litre V10 in the middle of it, which with quite a short wheelbase, which makes it a bit twitchy, whereas the Porsche is a flat 6, normally aspirated with the engine out the rear, so that has some drawbacks in its handling, but also some advantages in traction. Josh Thompson in the Ferrari, that's been his biggest complaint this season, not having the traction from that Ferrari.
Although he says that he prefers it when it's cooler temperatures, it helps the Ferrari out. Well, it's 26 degrees track temperature, so it's nice and cool for the drivers after a few weeks, the first and third week, having the crazy hot track temperatures. Here comes Boumet deciding to head to pit road. What dynamic are we expecting to see there, Peter, with them getting those cooler conditions?
Well, it's got to help the Ferrari. It's got to help Jack Sedgwick, and straight away he's third in qualifying. That's better than he's qualified so far this season, so it's definitely going to help them. They'll be hoping that those cooler temperatures hold, not just in the first race, but the second one also.
We've got a little bit of time to kill before the end of the session here. So there you go. There's the track conditions at the moment. 21 degrees in the air, 26 on the ground. We're still in the mid-morning, so it will potentially slightly warm up a little bit more, but we are right on the coast here. Normally, you would say things along the lines of sea breeze and things like that, Peter, but I don't know. We've got quite a calm wind of 10 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, that is certainly a calm one for Zandvoort, right beside the sea. Lots of great fried fish vans all along the seafront here in Zandvoort. Great place to go and visit. As we discussed briefly 2 weeks ago, it's the town itself is maybe not the most glamorous, but it's the beach is lovely, big long beach that goes along the whole sort of North Netherlands coastline. So yeah, it's very, very cool indeed, and all of the greats have won here. Fangio, Moss, Jim Clark, and fellow sideburn enthusiast Jackie Stewart. They've all won here at Zandvoort.
Has Fittipaldi won here? Because he's another sideburn enthusiast.
He is a major sideburn enthusiast. That I'm not sure, actually. You would think so, wouldn't you? But I'm not sure.
You would think so, yeah. But anyway, we're getting to the end of qualifying. So here is your starting grid then for this opening race of the day. It's Alex Davidson and James Boumé on the front row of the grid. Then behind them, Jack Sedgwick and the top Pro-Am of Jamie Rushworth. Leander Engelfelt then alongside Victor Wolfson on row number 3. 2 Pro-Ams in the top 5 of qualifying. Row number 4, it's Michael Evdoka and Axel Slijepčević with Alex Gall and Anders Meyer. Then on row number 5. Row 6 for Dennis Grabowski and Adam Watson. 7th row of the grid for Nathan Moore and Bacon Zelenka. 8th row for Mark Fletcher. The boss is back for the team, and he's alongside Harry Langford there. At row number 9, Jonathan Walker, who's your top AM driver, alongside Rhys Saunders. 10th row of the grid for Joe Newman, who had such an impressive outing last time out at Jerez in race number 2. Alongside him is Chris Chadderton, Phil Samways and Joe Spencer. Then on row number 11 with row 12 of Ben Hackerson, the returning Ben Hackerson, and Will Guthrie. Next row of the grid, row 13 for Taylor Lane and Jesse Payne Wilkins with Ben Altria and Tom Weston on row number 14. 15th row of the grid, Andrew Fairley and Nick Kirstens. Row 16 for Richard Simner and Ben Bennyworth with Simon Andre Livingston and Mike Barber. And on the next row of the grid, Ben Gregory and Ian Brown on 35th and 36th places respectively. Row number 18. Row 19 for Adam Hedgecock and Nathan Healy with Jake Blackall and Josh Thompson at the penultimate row of the grid. Final row of the grid, Andy Shield and Matthias Temme, rounding out your 42 car entry here for you today. The drivers have to do a full pace lap here, so the last chance to get acclimatized to this track. But it's a track that a lot of drivers, especially the European drivers, Peter, know very well. It appears in quite a few series schedules, does this track?
It does, and of course with Max Verstappen's success, dominance, whatever you want to call it, over the last few years, which brought Formula One back to Zandvoort after so many years of it being away, and a lot of work was done to the circuit to accommodate that. But yes, you're right, it's for regional series, etc., very, very popular because it's so easily accessible from so much of Europe, and indeed from the UK as well, just a short hop on the ferry. So it's a wonderful facility, actually, really, really cool, and the way that it just follows the natural curvature of the land, of the big sand dunes around near the beach. But it was always very famous for its the Masters of Formula 3, which was a little bit like almost like a Formula Ford Festival sort of thing, but with F3, and guys like David Coulthard, Jos Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, they all won that, and that was held here at Zandvoort for many years.
Yeah, it certainly was. And it's got some iconic corner names as well. I mean, everyone knows Tarzan for turn number 1, the big sweeping hairpin, Hugenholtz as well. Now, the one I always like is Rob Slottermaker is one corner name, which they're actually going through now here, before they then go into the Scheivlach.
Skeletric repairman Rob Slottermaker.
Yes, thank you very much, Peter. There's Masters.
Tarzan is definitely Adam Watson's favourite corner. And then there's the Ari Loyendijk bend as well,
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, absolutely. Last corner, Ari Loyendijk corner. The banked curve that takes you onto the start and finish straight. And basically, for me, the overtaking opportunities around this track is into Tarzan, maybe into turn 9 after Masters. It's quite a tricky one. It's quite a tricky one. It's a lot of flowing corners around here. It's an old school track.
It's a very old school track, yeah. Still, even with the modernisation, it hasn't lost its character. The one thing is, though, is like, particularly as we're coming around corner 9 just now, you can sort of make dive bomb manoeuvres and block passes. If you're making a pass, it tends to be not a very clean one, but you can do them. There is the space on the road to try and park yourself on the apex. So I think there is opportunities, but it's tricky.
It certainly is tricky. As we have a look back from the pace car, the Porsche pace car here in iRacing, and well, chuck a wing on the back of that and you're pretty much a cup car for that one. But certainly it's a good sounding motor on that one, even when it is just barely idling.
Just ticking over. Ticking over. Yeah, the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup Touring, as I like to call it.
Yeah, well, so the drivers will be getting ready for the start. However, pit entry is quite a ways down the straight, so they're going to have to be patient. They can't go too early. We've seen in the past drivers launching out of last corners and things like that, but there you see that the pit entry line on track, you've got to wait until that Porsche is behind the pit wall into the pit lane properly. Although Alex Davidson says forget about that, we're going motor racing here. Green flag in the air. It's round number 6 of the World GT Championship season 16 into Tarzan for the first time, going 2-3 wide through there. The back turn helps you be able to go 2-3 wide through there, through this tricky section. Though this is where you usually have the trip ups, this is where you usually have the issues, and then through Hugenholtz for the first time. And speaking of issues, we've got a big one there. Multiple cars. Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to stay green flag racing because the track is clear, although more is happening right now.
Caution, yellow flag.
Well, the safety car, unsurprisingly, has been brought out. That was an absolute Hugenholtz, that, wasn't it? Just a total mess. We could sit here all day and try not to analyse that. I don't know if we should bother, Paul.
Let's look at the casualty list that's so far. I mean, Josh Thompson and Matthias Temme didn't even take the start of the race. Andrew Fairley and Simon Andre Livingston have both elected to take a tour back to pit road, so they are struggling and going to be sat on pit road for quite a while. The pace car is on its way out, although I don't know who it's going to pick up right now because Alex Davidson's only just coming around the last corner, so it's going to take a while. The order as things stand, I mean, you could tell how much it was in the middle because Chris Chatterton is up 10 places into 10th place.
Yeah, there was definitely some haves and have-nots in that pile-up, wasn't there? Yeah, it's a part of the circuit where it really does converge quite dramatically, but you know, when there's a pile-up like that, you don't just keep driving into it. You know, yes, sometimes it's unavoidable, but it just seemed like everyone was in this daze. Like, watching everyone going into this. Just oh dear, is that a pile up ahead? Oh, I wonder. Shall I change the radio station? Oh, I'm in the pile up.
Well, it's the sim racers' curse that basically they see a yellow flag and see the opportunity to gain a ton of places, don't they?
Yeah, gun it. Yeah, that's exactly what you should do.
Axel Slipčević is onto pit road. I have a funny feeling, because I did see an Altitude esports car around in Hugenholz. I have a funny feeling it was his car. Here we go, Axel Slipčević to the inside. He loses it. That's all on his own, and then it's just a case of pinball, people coming flying round, not holding the brakes, and then on corner exit there's yet more shenanigans up into the next corner. And that's why we ended up with the safety car. It was completely blocked.
Total mess. Half the field, basically, with damage of some description. I'm amazed, actually, how many have we had coming in for pits? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takers to the pits from 40 starters. I actually thought we'd see a lot more than that.
Here's another look. Dennis Grabowski's on board. So he's round the outside. There goes Axel, and he just bang. People go to pull to the right, and Dennis can't go anywhere.
On board with Adam Watson. So one of the Altitude Audis spins through, goes Adam, and just as he changes direction, the rear just disappears.
I think he was assisted there, potentially.
Possibly, yeah. No.
You see, that's the problem. Yeah. If you're Anders Meyer, you've got the choice of absolutely T-boning that Audi or trying to avoid it. The problem is, in trying to avoid it, he's got 2 cars to his outside.
Yeah, it was that split-second reaction. Yeah, no, absolutely, that's so true. And it also shows you how tricky that particularly the Audi is on cold tyres, because the rears, there's just no grip there at all. Those 2 Altitude Audis both having effectively the same kind of error, and yeah.
I have a funny feeling the stewards might be a bit looking not too kindly to those that came flying into that accident. There's yellow flags for a reason. Yeah,
that's not so good. Not so good. There was some who had absolutely nowhere to go. That's very important to say. There were some drivers who clearly had absolutely no choice. They were in that accident whether they liked it or not. But there was plenty others who at the back that had time to avoid that. Now we're seeing a lot more pit takers. Look at this.
So this is because the pit lane officially opens now. On that first time around, those cars that pitted get an end-of-line penalty because the pit lane was closed. And it's basically half of the field that has just pitted right now. Literally half of the field has just pitted.
Yeah, that's right. I would say even at least half the field.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Them all come in, get the repair. I mean, on one hand, they've all been able to do that, not lose the lead lap, and we'll crack on. That's the good thing about having the fast repair.
Yeah. And that's one of the positives about this series, is that you do get that fast repair. Jonathan Walker, I want to point out, he's still struggling around the track with a severely damaged car because he chose not to pit on that first lap when he'd end up with an end-of-line penalty. So he's just going round into turn 9, whereas the leaders are just heading through turn 6.
Yes, it's well, hopefully you can get it round okay and then get the repair. Now I can't see Josh Thompson on my timing
screen. No, he didn't take the start.
He hasn't taken the start. Okay, I see.
Well, what's bad for Jonathan Walker is that the lights are out on the pace car, so we're going back racing this lap.
Yeah, not really sure why he didn't take the chance when everybody else did too.
Well, he's yet to come round.
He hasn't had his chance yet.
No.
Right, yes, of course. Mind you, an end-of-line penalty is better than losing a lap.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to take your medicine, and it's the old golf analogy, isn't it? You end up that far in the rough that you just take the medicine and just get yourself...
Get the pitching wedge out and put it back onto the fairway, yes.
Yeah.
I've been there, yeah, many times.
I've been there many times, and I only ever did half a round of golf, so that tells you. I'm going to use the excuse that my friend who promised that he'd teach me how to swing a golf club never actually taught me how to swing a golf club. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
You always need a good coach.
Absolutely. So, anyway, we are looking at things right now. The top three stayed in the positions that they are. Victor Wolfson gained 2 places up into 4th ahead of Jeremy Rushworth. And then Michael Avdoka in 6th place. Leander Engelvelt in 7th ahead of Harry Langford, Mark Fletcher and Chris Chatterton into the top 10. Ben Hackerson, I'll get my facts in now while I can, hasn't competed in this championship since season 6. That's 5 years ago now. He's in 11th place, a gain of 12 positions. Richard Simners gained 19. Ian Brown up 22. Nathan Healy up 23 places in this race. There's some big movers through all of this, and it could be a bit more exciting because you've got some fast drivers that are going to be coming through the field. But that pace car, it's pulling off to pit road once again, and we are going to be green flag racing, hopefully, for the remaining 21 minutes of this race. Single file real start, and there's a jump further back for one of your Corvettes. That got a good start. So the red one, that was the 70. I can't see which number it is on my list here, but yeah, one of the Corvettes had a really good start. I think it was Ian Brown in number 83.
A great getaway there, yeah, as they come around the heavily banked Hugenholtz box. And have they got through clean or not? Or is the... Oh, no, we haven't. Oh, not again.
Oh, come on, chaps. Keep it clean. Don't go too far down there. And that's Reece Saunders. Oh, my goodness. What a start to this race after being promoted to Pro-Am, being second in the Pro-Am Championship, now finding himself towards the rear of the field. There's more shenanigans. Phil Samways is around.
Oh, dear.
Can you tell we've had a week off, Peter?
I think maybe, and it's another one of the
that's Joe Newman.
Oh, dearie me! I think it's just cold rear tyres.
And that's a failure.
Yeah, it's a failure.
Oh, there's another car going straight on there as well.
It's almost like we don't have rain coming in. I don't see rain on the screen, but it's almost like the rain's coming and the cars are speeding off the road all the time. Or
somebody's dropped oil, something like that.
Yes, it's very much that, but it just shows you if you don't have the temperature in the rear tyres, it's not going to stick.
Right now, with mechanical meatball warning flags, Joe Newman, Phil Samways, Axel Slijuptrovic again, Alex Gall again, and Joe Spencer. So they're all going to be done for the rest of this race. They're going to be starting race 2 at the back of the field. Will Guthrie has a black flag for incident points.
I don't know how
impressive.
I was going to say, how do you... that just shows you how much contact there's been to rack up the incident points to get that drive-through penalty. But, well, what a bonkers start to this race here at Zandvoort as Adam Hedgecock makes his way through the fast S's section. But, wow, yeah, really a real shake-up. But at the top of the field, it's all business as usual. Alex Davidson's going, I don't know what all the fuss is about. What's good? He's probably no idea of the carnage going on behind him.
Well, Alex Davidson has 3 race wins to his name this season. He's wanting to make it number 4 as Adam Watson is facing the wrong way. Can somebody take a sensible pill or something like that? This is getting a little bit silly out there with the number of drivers being in it or making contact or various other things happening out there. But yeah, Alex Davidson, he's happy. He's got a 7/10 of a second lead over James Boumé in second place, and Jack Sedgwick is probably sat there thinking, finally, I've got some good luck this season, because he's not had the best defence of his championship, has he?
No, not so far. Not so far, Cedric, and he'll be delighted not to be mixed up in that carry on there. So we crack on then. Victor Wilson in 5th, battling away here with Jamie Rushworth, who had a good qualifying in the Porsche, and Wilson's going to hook it around the outside there and holds on to the position and does so. So Wilson, who's 3rd in the championship, quite a distant 3rd, it must be said. Is that Watson off again?
No, it's Baker Zelenka, his teammate.
Oh dear.
Oh, I tell you what, Mark Fletcher's going to have a heck of a repair bill after this. Wings contact there. Well held.
That's a big moment there.
That is huge. And well, Chris Chatterton, little tip of the hat from me. That's one heck of a hold there.
I'm not entirely sure how he held that, because that's quick through that part of the circuit. It's like 4th gear in a GT3 car. Oh, I'm actually make it 5th gear, 6th gear. So here he goes, 6th gear, down to 4th. No, it was 4th. So he clicked down to 4th, gets clipped from the back, and actually wasn't. It just shows you that he wasn't like hands all over the place. Just let it do its thing.
Well, you're fortunate that within that corner, it is quite a sweeping corner that you can let the car sort of slide through there with the elevation change as well. That'll help you hold. I'm not taking anything away from that hold, though. That was tremendous. Although his tyres will be screaming that they've had enough now with the temperature that would have got through them.
So let's see what happened. I mean, that's coming back to the restart. I mean, come on.
That's, yeah, you called it. That's off of the restart. Here's Rhys Saunders, what happened on the restart. And it goes for a dive. Oh, the problem is, yeah, you'll overtake one person, but you then cause damage to a few others there. Joe Spencer being one of those. This is Phil Samway having his moment, and then, just gets rear-ended. As I say, I just think that people are just needing to take a sensible pill. I think part of this is because people know. I mean, that one I'm just speechless on. I'll be honest. I think part of it is because people know that this is notoriously a difficult overtaking track. As a car spins, it's Simner. Richard Simner spins on his own. I get the feeling that people are just making desperation moves in a 30-minute race because they know how difficult it is to overtake out there.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, that's just self-spin, is that one?
Yeah. It does seem to me that there's a lot of the Audis having problems with losing the rear and the rear turning round seemingly from nowhere. Corvette mid-engine cars is usually a bit more stable, but I'd wonder if it's just like with the cooler track temperature, are they struggling to get the heat into the rear tyres? Are they? I don't know. It's struggling for explanations here.
Well, there's a dive from one of your Altitude Esport Audis, and that's Baker Zelenka. And they're side by side through this opening section and give each other space, and that means it's upper position for Bacon. And the one positive about the outside line through Hugenholtz is that you can carry the speed and get the power down nice and early to get the speed off of the corner. It's not always best into Hugenholtz to go low down to the inside.
No, because then you've got a very long full throttle section and it's uphill, so if you don't carry the speed you're going to lose time all the way up the hill. So yeah, I agree with you there. It's sometimes compromise the entry a little but get that really good exit coming up the hill.
I can tell you, by the way, that there's somebody in the Twitch chat here that has said I'm not saying it's getting silly out there, but I've got a 4X from I'm just watching.
That's a good one.
It's been quite a physical race. Just to keep you up to date with everything, Alex Davidson, James Boumé, Jack Sedgwick, they're staying as they are right now. Jamie Rushworth still leads Pro-Am ahead of Lander Angeldveld, and Ben Hackerson is up to 9th now in Pro-Am. Tom Weston, top am in 12th place ahead of this driver that we're on board with right now, Ian Brown. Ian is one of those drivers who swapped after the first 3 rounds. He was a Pro-Am, he's now down to Am. And, well, it's going to, if he holds on to this, best result of the season so far.
Yeah, that's the thing with the amount of attrition there's been and the amount of errors. It does give opportunities if you can somehow avoid the carnage and keep it clean. There is definitely a lot of big points to be scored. You know, we've got 3 AMs in the top 15. We haven't seen that all season.
No, we haven't seen that at all. You know, what Ian Brown is doing right now is really good, really positive. This is what he needs to do as a driver to get some really, really big points for him. Could almost say he's my star for this race. And yes, that is an Ian Brown song. As we go too wide, heading towards the chicane once again, onto the brakes, and no move being made there. But the Nathan Moore down the inside, and oh, look at this, trying to take advantage. Andy Shield. Andy's trying to get one of his best results of the season so far for KRD, and he is now up into 15th.
Yeah, great move there, and Bacon Zelenka is going to try and trot on through as well. Look, has he done so? He almost has. Nathan Healy's going to try it and go around. Oh, a little squeeze there from Zelenka, and it's just that little bit deeper on the brakes, and oof, tight.
I tell you what, that was a close cut from Bacon, but thank you for that one as well.
A bit of beef between those two teams as well. Not pork, as it must be said.
As we go through, so now going from attacking to defending, and this is Nathan Healy now, who I think it's fair to say has had an absolutely dire season. Has Nathan? He seems to have got involved in all sorts of silly incidents throughout the season. This is a great opportunity for him to move forward and to get some big points. 21 positions gained for him so far. But the problem is, as we mentioned earlier, Peter, he's got some faster drivers coming up behind that were caught up in those lap 1 shenanigans.
Yeah, and that's something to contend with, isn't it? It's Taylor Lane and the Prestanda Nomad. Oh, car. I always find the chicane there towards the end of the lap, the Hans Ernstbach. You think you could overtake there, but it's always pretty messy. So yeah, sometimes better to try and set one up out of Arie Luijendijk in that, or try and do it Arie Luijendijk. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea either. But yeah, try and set it up for Tarzan into turn 1. So yeah, it's tricky circuit to be able to try and line something up. Here comes Taylor Lane now up the inside. Gets squeezed down big time. And does he make it through? Yes, he does.
Oh, a bit of a flash of the headlights there as well. But careful now, Nathan. But there was a car's width of space there, and Taylor took it.
Yes, there was. Yeah, there was definitely cars with the space. There maybe wasn't as they reached the corner. I think it was that cars with the space was snipped on at the last minute. But yeah, Taylor Lane managed to get by. Perfectly fair on his point, I would say. Now, Mike Barber, the Verano Motorsports Ferrari, trying to make moves forward here. So there is overtakes being made clean. I actually think it's more just been simple driving errors than dodgy overtaking moves.
Simple driving errors. I think there's been a bit of ambitious but rubbish moves as well in all of that. I'll quite frankly be honest there, Peter. If there's nothing said about the Yorkshiremen, it's that you get honesty from them. And yeah, there has been some very questionable moves made there. Richard Simner on the back of Jake Blackhall. Oh, Blackhall hits the curb, spins the car around, and that Porsche, that rear-engine Porsche, once that gets going, once it starts spinning, well, it just goes. Yeah, it was always getting a little bit tight there, and yeah, unfortunately a little error from Blackhall, which will cost him dear. I mean, was he trying to make a move there, or did he just get it all a bit wrong on the brakes? He ended up on the curb. Yeah, that's a kicker. Yeah. And it's one of those nasty sausage curbs as well, which me and you have a very big disdain for.
I tell you what, a nasty sausage does unsettle the rear.
It certainly does, absolutely. Nathan Moore, looking forward now. He's got Ian Brown ahead of him. He's trying to work his way through. Nathan's actually dropped Andy Shield and through the right-hander. Is he going to make a move here? No. He's going to wait. But you can see the behaviour of the two different cars. You've got that Corvette in front. We're on board with the Porsche. You can see how this Porsche just seems to be a little bit more... I can't believe I'm saying it. A little bit more pointy. And it seems to deal with the change of direction very well.
It seems to be a very good package at the moment. Yeah, Nathan Moore just showing the difference there. And also, we've got a lot of drivers out of position as well. I think that's worth bearing in mind. That there's a lot of pro drivers that are racing against the drivers in the AM class, a pro AM class, which they will look racy around. That's, you know, because their pace is just simply higher.
Richard Simner has had to take a tour back to pit lane, and I think he's been joined by Adam Watson as well. 2 and 2 together make 4? Or is it going to be 2 and 2 together makes coincidence? I don't know. There's a dive down the inside. There's contact as well between the two. And Bacon Zelenka with a forceful move on Andy Shield.
Yeah, just chopped right through there. Ted Bacon Zelenka. Great move. Pretty forceful, but yeah, sometimes has to be. Nick Kerson's now trying to get around one of the Corvettes there. There's 3 wide.
Gregory.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it's Ben Gregory involved in this one as well. Gregory's not having a bad race so far. 20th place to Nathan Healy to the inside. Gregory makes the move, makes it stick. So he moves up now, does Gregory into 19th. And yeah, Nick Kirstens is all over Nathan Healy like a cheap suit right now. Here we go, Richard Simner and Adam Watson. Well, the two did get together and both ended up in the wall.
Yep.
I mean, you've got an entire straight there, and they both wanted to be on the same piece of tarmac.
Yeah. What else can you add? Totally unnecessary.
It is, absolutely. Well, we've got 5.5 minutes remaining in this race. The front three are still as they are. Alex Davidson, 13 laps led. He'll be delighted with that, will the WSR Esports with butt kicker driver in that Porsche 911 GT3R. The 992 model, of course. Coming up to lap traffic, that's car 88, that's Jonathan Walker. So Johnny Walker did manage to stay on the lead lap, but only just.
A good effort from Johnny Walker to be able to do that, and you never know. We could get, of course, one of the options on the spinny wheel is a full reverse grid, but you can only get that reverse grid if you're on the lead lap. So. The top two lead laps. So yeah, great job from Johnny Walker. He may well get passed here by Alex Davison before the end of the race, but a good run nonetheless to try and recover from that pretty big pile-up earlier on. There's Zelenka trying to make moves here on Ian Brown in the little red Corvette.
So yeah, as Ian's trying to put up a robust defence right now, and staying ahead for the moment, ahead of Bacon Zelenka. Andy Shields there now. Andy will want to get a little bit of comeback at Bacon for that move down at Tarzan, and the Porsche driver for KRD, series admin of the championship as well as Andy, he'll be looking to make a move, but he's too far back for me going into Tarzan. And the problem for Bacon Zelenka is that he was too far back. That Corvette, it's got a little bit of poke down that start and finish straight.
It does actually, yeah. That 5.5 flat plane crank V8 has got some grunt to it, that's for sure. But don't write off the V10 and the Audi either, known for its traction off the corner, and it's certainly proving to be so right there in the slipstream as you sweep up the hill towards the Schieflach. A great corner. It's just all just starting to pour away from you, and then the Masters box where you're just threading it here. Very easy to pick up track limit incident point there, and then trying to get the car braked and turned for turn 9 and 10. Really cool part of the circuit.
Show another really depressing fact here, that there's 31 cars currently running out of 40 that started this race. That tells you the rate of attrition in this race has been really high. I would hope that the next race, the race that follows up this one tonight, the hour-long race, has a little bit more of a calm approach to it, because we can't be having that rate of attrition for an hour-long race.
No, but with it being a reverse grid setup, well, we'll see. We will see. Move going on here. Nathan Moore goes past Chris Chariton there at Tarzan. Plenty of room given and taken there. So Moore goes through, and that's another point gain. Of course, not a battling class. It does make a difference on the overall points, but in terms of class, no, they're running in a different class. So Wise all there as Bacon Zelenka tries to make something happen there, going into the Hogenholtz box, but hasn't quite got it finished yet, has he? Yes, he has actually.
So, gets the move done on Ian Brown, and now Andy Shield over the rear of that Corvette. Just under a minute and a half remaining. We'll get, so this is the penultimate lap, we'll get one more lap after this one. Oh, dive to the inside, Andy Shield. You can make a dive there. The problem is that the next corner's a left-hander, so you can't always get the move completed there. And, well, joining the party in all of this is Taylor Lane. Well, it's 3 cars, 1 position. What could possibly go wrong?
Andy Shield trying everything. Oh, and gets it a little bit skippy there on the brakes, but manages to gather it up just a little bit. And that's allowed Zelenka a little bit of a couple of car lengths there in the Audi from Ian Brown in the Corvette, then Shield, then Taylor Lane. Great racing there between this bunch here, battling over 14th, 15th and 16th.
Well, yeah, it's been... when we have been getting racing, when they finally got themselves all sorted out, it has been some good racing. James Boumé still in second place ahead of Jack Sedgwick. I can't really see these two making any moves right now for position. And Michael Evdoka is too far back to challenge them, although he is under pressure from Victor Wolfson. So, coming through, final lap of the race. Wolfson trying to make a move here. The driver who's 3rd place in the pro standings. Well, he's trying to get himself some more good points here. New to the series this season. He's put on a good display so far, but speaking of good displays, well, this is round number 6. And it's going to be win number 4 for Alex Davidson. He has been dominant at the front of this race from the start, from the restart, and the WSR Esports Butt Kicker Racing driver is race winner for round number 6 of the World GT Championship Season 16. Across the line come the rest of them. Jamie Rushworth is going to be your best Pro-Am driver for KRD. Victor Wolfson tries to make a move at the end, doesn't make it. But Jamie Rushworth ahead of Lander Angerveld finishes 6th and 7th place, the Pro-Am drivers. Look back further up, Tom Weston is in the 13th place. He's your best AM driver is Tom, and the DCW Racing driver takes the win in AM, 13th overall. A really good day, Peter, for some people to make some big points.
There is, yeah, very great opportunity and taken by those drivers there. There's a lot of drivers in the pits licking their wounds. Over half the field having to go into the pits in a 30-minute race. That's never good.
Well, Guthrie's not giving this one up right to the end here. Adam Hedgecock, Lord Hedge himself, finishes ahead though of Will Guthrie. That was 26th, 27th places. And we're just waiting on the final couple of cars to come across the line to finish their races. But race of attrition, that's one thing I would say. Bowling shoe ugly is another description for the start of that race, if nothing else. But once it calmed down, we got some motor racing out there, that is for sure, as across the line there goes. So that is going to give us the spin of the wheel here, and this will decide who will be on pole position for the second race of the evening. Remember, stick around, we've got one more race coming up, and it's going to be a small one. 10th place is going to be on pole position. Wow. Well, let's see how that all pans out. It is Alex Davidson who led the race from start to finish. He wins by 2.9 seconds over James Boumé. Jack Sedgwick in third place, ahead of Michael Livdock, fourth. Victor Wolfson just behind in fifth place. Jamie Rushworth then was the top Pro-Am driver in sixth place for KRD. He finishes ahead of Leander Engelveld. Best result for him here in seventh place. Mark Fletcher in eighth. Then the front row for the next grid, next race that's going to be coming up in about 10 minutes time. Ben Hackerson is going to be sharing the front row with pole sitter Harry Langford for Quatermass Motorsports. Rest of the drivers will be starting where they finished. So Nathan Moore is in 11th, ahead of Chris Chatterton. Tom Weston, your top AM driver, in 13th for DCW Racing, ahead of Bacon Zelenka. Ian Brown, great race for him to finish in 15th overall at the end, ahead of Andy Shield, Taylor Lane, Mike Barber. Ben Gregory, third place in AM, 19th overall. He'll be happy with that after some of the bad luck he's endured this season. Nick Kirstens rounding out 20th place. 21st for Nathan Healy, who sort of dropped back through the field through that race, ahead of Jesse Payne-Wilkins. Jack Blackall, Ben Bennyworth, Rhys Saunders, who had a challenging day out there in that opening race, ahead of Adam Hedgecock. Will Guthrie and Ben Altria were the drivers on the lead lap. Jonathan Walker and Andrew Fairley, one lap down, 29th and 30th places. And the rest of them did not finish the race. Look at that. Adam Watson, Axel Slieptrovich, Richard Simner, Dennis Grabowski, Alex Gall, Joe Spencer, Phil Samways, Joe Newman, Anders Meyer, and Simon Andre Livingston. Josh Thompson and Matthias Temme did not take the race start. So, that is the first race in the books. And, well, we've got another race coming up for you in about 10 minutes' time, as I say here. But, Peter, good luck, Peter. We've got quite the descriptors that we've got to try and choose here.
Well, yeah, where to begin? It did really seem like the drivers struggled a lot for grip earlier on. I mean, it seemed that there was a lot of spins coming from nowhere, the rear just getting away from many drivers, and when that happens in the middle of a race start, then it's going to be all arms and elbows, as we saw. So yeah, that's disappointing. I'm sure the drivers will be much more aware of that on the second race start, but it did look really tricky out there.
Yeah, it certainly did. The characteristics of the track maybe don't help matters when you've got 40 GT3 cars trying to all work their way through. However, saying that, when we did, as I said just at the end of the race there, once we got all that sorted out and drivers could actually drive and race each other, we got some really good racing out there.
We did, yes, I agree with that. Yeah, there was opportunities for overtaking, they were taken and they were done cleanly in many cases. So yes, that is very true. And and you look at our championship leader out the front, he's just in spellbinding form, isn't he? He won that race by 2.9 seconds. That's quite a big margin in the context of a 30-minute sprint race with the way the pace is at the front of the field from James Boumé and Jack Sedgwick getting the Ferrari working a little bit better now too. So it's a pretty strong performance from Alex Davidson, and just showing how good a position he's in at the top of the championship.
as I said, 6 races so far. We've had 4 race wins for Alex Davidson. I want to give a couple of quick mentions to our finishers in that race as well. It's going to be starting on the front row. What a return after 5 years away from the series. Ben Hackerson, 14 places gained, finished in 9th place. You can't ask for a better start for a driver who's a bit out of the running in this series to start off.
No, that's an amazing effort. That is really impressive. And yes, there was points, there was places to be gained, not quite for free. I mean, you had to avoid a big old mess there, but Ben managed to get through and he got the full reward for it. Fantastic job from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Weston as well, your top AM in that race, gained 15 places. Ian Brown, second place in AM, 21 places gained. Andy Shield, 24 places gained. It shows if you keep out of trouble and can keep on the straight and narrow, you can get yourself some really good points. And as you pointed out, Peter, yes, some drivers weren't fighting each other in class, but those points matter because you're taking those points into your championship.
That's right, and that's why Rhys Saunders is, yes, he started the season off in AM, but he's now in the Pro-Am class and he's second in the championship. Is because of the overall points he scored. So yes, every point every position is a point gain, but if it is somebody who's not in your class, sometimes it's better to just play the long game and not get into a silly battle, because we saw many people coming up a cropper due to a silly battle or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Race 2 is going to be coming up. Some big names, though, did not finish that race. Watson, Sliptrovich, Grabowski, Alex Gall. Some really big names got caught up in that. A lot, I have to say, from Altitude Esports as well. They've taken a heavy hit in this round of the championship, and it's going to affect them in this next race now.
And I think a lot of that's to do with the car they've chosen. It seemed that they had a lot of issues with that Audi. Looks tough to drive. It looks really tricky. I mean, it shows you actually how good a job James Boomey did to get it round in second, but you need a former champion to get the speed out of it. They might be regretting their decision to choose that car.
Yeah, absolutely. They may be regretting that. One extra thing as well that Ben Gregory actually brought up in our YouTube chat just before race number 1 is the potential of there may be a shower of rain towards the end of the race, of this hour-long race. So we don't know yet how exactly the weather is going to fall, so that'll be really interesting. But anyway, stick around everyone, because we've got a 1 hour long feature race coming up for you just after this ad break. Stick around for round number 7 of the World GT Championship.
past all of them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back for coverage of round number 7 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. It is Paul Smith and Peter Mackay bringing you all of the coverage for you here today. And Peter, similar weather conditions on track as race number 1. Touch wood, people have taken advantage of looking back at race number 1 and thinking, let's not do that again in race number 2.
Let's see. Yeah, and just a little bit of time in warm-up to get a look at the track conditions and see how things are. And of course, this is a race with a pit stop too, and if we do see a safety car again earlier on, that could play factors into people maybe taking gambles or whatever with strategy and things. So yeah, going to be an interesting race, this one, I think. And I think with that strategy element, if you're stuck behind somebody, do you go in and get your pit stop done? That's going to open things out a little bit.
That, and also the potential of some of the wet stuff falling from the sky as well. It's in the weather forecast. The thing is, it depends on what time in sim we start as to whether we actually see that weather or not. So that could throw another curveball for the drivers out there as well.
That would, yeah, that really would. And I think if it's forecast to arrive at the very end of the race, then you really want to push the pit window as late as you possibly can. So you want your first stint to be as long as you can. So if you're 50-50 on getting an extra lap, fuel save and get an extra lap. And then again in the second stint, try and elongate it so that your last stop is as late in the race as it can be. Why? Because then it gives you the opportunity, if it does start pouring with rain, when you're taking your pit stop anyway, you chuck the wet tyres on.
It just gives you that bit of a comfort, doesn't it? A bit of leeway as to give you options for that. Yeah, absolutely right there, Peter. And we've seen, well, the driver who's been the king of that this season so far has actually been James Boumé, hasn't he? He's been the king of looking after his fuel.
Well, yes, that is true. Yeah, he has been the most frugal driver on the grid for a couple of seasons now.
Mark Fletcher must have had words in the driver's ear and said, whoever can save the most money in fuel costs gets at the Christmas party at the end of the season, perhaps. I don't know. But we have got 36 drivers. We have lost a couple of drivers between races. We've still got 36 to be starting this one. It is a full pace lap once again for the drivers to acclimatise themselves to the race. So Harry Langford starting from pole position for Quatermass Motorsport, and he's got a bit of a hot fresh talent to the track of Ben Hackerson alongside them in the PS UK esports car. Mark Fletcher for Altitude Esports by SimStickers, alongside him Lander Angelveld, who got one of his best results of the season in that first race of the day. Jeremy Rushworth and Victor Wolfson, they will carry on their races from 5th and 6th place on the grid. Row number 4 then is Michael Evdoka and last season's champion Jack Sedgwick. Row 5 for James Boumé, a former champion, and current Pro Championship leader Alex Davidson alongside him. Nathan Moore and Chris Chatterton are the first of the drivers who will be starting where they finished that previous race. Tom Weston and Baker Zelenka then on row number 7, with Ian Brown and Andy Shield on row number 8. The 9th row of the grid, Taylor Lane and Mike Barber. Row 10 is shared by Ben Gregory and Nick Kirstens. The 11th row of the grid is Nathan Healy and Jesse Payne Wilkins, with row 12 of Jake Blackhall and Ben Bennyworth. The 13th row, Ray Saunders and Adam Hedgecock. They'll be hoping not to make contact with each other, being teammates. Will Guthrie and Ben Altria, row number 14, ahead of Jonathan Walker and Andrew Fairley on the 15th row of the grid. Row 16 shared by Adam Watson and Axel Slijepcevic. Richard Simner and Dennis Grabowski then share the next row of the grid of row number 17. And the final 2 cars, Joe Spencer and Phil Samways, round out our 36 car grid. Well, here we go then. Race number 2 of the evening. Drivers are out there on track, getting ready for the start of this next race. Strategy is going to be key, I think, here, Peter, for me. I think the strategy will have a big say in how this race goes.
It will, yeah, for sure. Particularly when there's that threat of rain, and there's a little element of luck involved. There's a little bit of a casino about this, and where do you get lucky? Does it stay dry if you just tough it out on the dry tires, or do you actually even it? You know, if it does rain a little bit and you just have to survive on the dry tires, and that's better than going in and changing. Let's see. We love to have those unanswered questions at this stage.
We love a bit of variability and unpredictability, don't we, Peter? We love to see that, and yeah, it's certainly going to be a question of if that rain does come by the end. I can tell you, looking on my end, that the rain band is appearing on the radar, so we could well see that rain. It's saying by 4:15 in the session time for that hitting us. Well, it's 3:23 in session right now, so that'll be just under 10 minutes of the race remaining. I think everyone will have made their pit stops by then, Peter, unless we get a safety car.
They might be praying for a safety car then. I'm getting mixed up with an endurance race. Of course, we don't have 2 pit stops, we have 1. So yeah, you want to stretch that pit stop as long as you possibly can. So there's we could see some really big fuel saving on here.
Well, the drivers are heading themselves towards the end of the lap here, and they'll be getting themselves set. So yeah, we've just got to ask, who can do what? Can Ben Hackerson sign off a great return to the championship and get a race win from the front row of the grid? He's in the favoured car in the Porsche. That could well be a good one for him. Or could Harry Langford hold on to a famous race victory for him at the front of the field? All will be decided over the next hour of racing. It's the World GT Championship. It's a 60-minute race. We've had the fun of the fair and of the sprint race. Now comes the tricky part. 1 hour of racing. Look towards the front of the field. When's he going to drop the car? When's he going to drop it? Now's the answer. The green flag's in the air. We're underway, and already we're going 3 wide further back in the field, almost going 4 wide in towards Tarzan for the first time in this race. And yeah, 3 wide through there they go. Watch it on corner exit. It does nip up there a little bit for the drivers. Heading towards this little bit of a pinch point now. through the left-hander, and this is where we saw the big accident in race number 1. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. We've got an Altitude Esports car around. It's Axel Slijeptrovic again.
Oh dear, Axel Slijeptrovic is just... he does not enjoy that corner, does he? On lap 1, cold tyres, round it goes. I wonder if it's maybe just the way he's got the car set up. It's just got no grip on the rear at all, because it's proving to be a real nightmare on that opening lap. But at least we get through without the safety car, and Mark Fletcher making good moves through the field. He's already moved up a spot, and well, he might lose it again here to Hackison because he went very wide there going through turn 10. But now Hackison side by side with Fletcher in the Audi. Oh dear.
That is Will Guthrie for full tilt, and he's having to wait for everyone to go around, and through he goes. Oh, Victor Wolfson getting a little bit of a hit check there. There's a car with a slowdown penalty as well, dropping back down the field. Richard Simner's got a mechanical meatball warning flag in all of this as well. But at the front, Harry Langford, he's held on to the lead ahead of Ben Hackison, and in fact, it's almost a second is a gap at the front there. Victor Wolfson under pressure though from Jamie Rushworth. Those two going to continue their battles as James Boumé working his way up through the field into 12th place.
Yeah, Wolfson and Rushworth are both quick in race 1 and making good moves already. Rushworth, oh, he's actually still at even Stevens, but Wilson's made up 2 positions already in that red and white Ferrari in the middle of the pack. There was a shot there, you can see. So yeah, Wilson really looks up for this one in that Ferrari.
Harry Langford didn't finish in 10th place by accident in that first race. If they start fighting Hackison and Fletcher, he could well pull away, could the Quatermass Motorsport driver. But the problem is, I know I've raced against Ben Hackison many moons ago, and he was a quick driver then. Well, it seems that he's lost none of his pace now, and it's a question of, can he make a move? He's getting closer, but he's not quite close enough to make a move into the chicane.
No, not quite. Harry Langford now under pressure. Whoa, spin!
That's Hackison.
Oh, Hackison's spin coming out of the chicane there. Oh, what a pity.
Was he pushed or?
Well, I'm not sure. It was very close. It's hard to tell from that angle. Oh. Why do we have a pit stop now? That's Fletcher into the pits.
He's got a mechanical meatball warning flag. Has he picked? Have they made contact?
Whoa.
Oh, that's Jamie Rushworth in the middle of the road at Tarzan. Oh, possible one of the worst places to be, I can tell you, because it's blind through there. I wonder if Fletcher picked up some damage from in the wrong place that gave him mechanical meatball warning flag.
That would be incredibly unlucky if that is the case, because it looked like they barely, if they did make contact, it was very, very slight, unless he was hit from the rear. But we'll get another look, I'm sure. But Alex Davidson, he's making moves around now. He's up into 5th position. He's just gone past Leander Eindevelt in the Porsche. So through he goes Davidson. Also in the Porsche, the white and black machine there, centre of shot, and right ahead of him, Jack Sedgwick, last year's champion, desperate to try and get his stuttering championship campaign back under control. And was there? Yes, there was. It was the hit from behind, and that Wilson's got damage on the front now, I'm sure. So yes, Hackison just got a little bit loose, and yeah, Fletcher's in the back of him, and that's a real... It seems innocuous, well, no, it doesn't actually.
I think it was more than the slight touch, wasn't it? But what that
it
does
wasn't
mean...
the full Austin Dillon, but no.
It wasn't the full Steve Soper and John Cleland either, so
no.
at least it's not that. I could tell you that Andrew Fairley has gone back to pit road with a tow, so he's had issues out there, and Nathan Healy's dropped down towards the rear of the field, so I have a funny feeling that those two have had a little bit of a coming together. But Victor Wolfson what a way this would be to win his first race of the championship. Here's what happened to Rushworth into Tarzan. I think he just got into the back of Wolfson. That unsettled the car. And then everybody does a good job of splitting around him.
And I tell you what, Wilson could be getting very close to the incident point limit already. Oh, now that's a boneheaded one there. So in the background, one of the altitude cars just ploughed into the side of the Corvette. They both got through, but just dive bomb central.
This is Healy getting turned around, and
by an altitude car.
And then, separately, Andrew Fairley comes to meet the car of Nathan Healy. Wow.
It was going well.
It was going well, yes. At the front, though, this is interesting. Across the line, Wolfson to the inside. He should get the move done at Tarzan. You can hold it around the outside there if you're Harry Langford. But no, Wolfson goes through. So change of lead then at the front for Bayonne Simsport. That's Victor Wolfson in the Ferrari over the Ferrari of Harry Langford.
So these cooler temperatures certainly suiting the 296 GD3 a little bit better. And yeah, Wilson through. So despite the damage, despite the impacts to the front and the rear of that Ferrari, it doesn't appear to have lost much speed. The last time by 133.6, that's certainly quite a bit quicker than the couple of cars behind them. But the quickest cars, they've still to come through. Alex Davidson, 133.2 for him, 133.5 for Sedgwick. So Davidson and Sedgwick are a little bit quicker, and at the moment sitting in 4th and 5th place.
It's Michael Evdoka, Jack Sedgwick and Alex Davidson who are looking towards Harry Langford and thinking, I want that place. The thing is, they've got to catch up to him because he's certainly holding his own. He's still up there with Victor Wolfson. The question is now is, can Victor pull away? I think if you're Victor Wolfson, you want to try and pull away from a Pro-Am and use that Pro-Am as a bit of a buffer between you and the rest of the pros, because they've been working their way through. It's a gain of 4 places for Evdoka, 4 places for Sedgwick, 5 places for Alex Davidson. So they've been working their way through the top 10. As there's a look to the inside for James Boumé, down the inside of Nathan Moore. And that's a gain of position for the Altitude Esports driver. Nice move to the inside.
Very nice move indeed. Goodness, we're only 9 minutes into this race. It's been fairly eventful already, hasn't it? Wilson now just starting to pull away a little bit at the front of the field. He was a second quicker than Langford last time by, so the gap is climbing up a bit. But tell you what, Sedgwick looking very racy up the back of Michael Evdoka here, all over the rear engine cover there as they come through down the hill towards turn 9. Does he get it done? No, not quite. He's going to try again at 10. No, not quite either.
It's not really the move to make though, because you've got to carry the speed out the corner here down this short back stretch, and you've got Alex Davidson, Pro Championship leader, 5th place right now. If I'm Alex, I'm just sitting behind and saving fuel. I'm not trying to make any sort of desperate moves. You're in a good championship points paying position. Why try and throw some moves on championship contenders that aren't gaining that many points on you ahead of you?
Yeah, this is the position he's put himself into. He's done a lot of the hard work early. He doesn't need to take risk. He's got such a good lead in the championship, and a big fuel save there as well. Just lifts off the throttle early. As Sedgwick, he doesn't have that luxury. He's got to make the moves. He's got to try and make moves forward, but they might get a little bit of a freebie here as Evdoka and Langford are going to go to it.
Oh, that was well defended by Langford, to be fair, doing a really good job. Wolfson's laughing all the way to the bank here because he's got a 2-second lead now at the front. But Harry Langford, well within his rights to hold the defensive line. There goes Sedgwick on Michael Evdoka. Oh no! Loses it! And Alex Davidson, well done to avoid the spinning Jack Sedgwick there. Great stuff from your Pro Championship leader, but Sedgwick, he just lost that all on his own.
Yeah, did Davidson manage to avoid him there? If so, that's amazing, because you are fully committed at that part of the circuit. So to be able to slow the car down, not lose it yourself, and not hit a fully broadside Ferrari there in Sedgwick, that's an amazing piece of driving. If so, we'll get another look at it, I'm sure. But wow, Davidson's lost a little bit of time, but that could have been race over. Let's get another look then. So, wow, he has avoided it. That is incredible. So that is perception. Look at that. He gets straight up the brakes, and then round he goes. That's incredible.
And the thing is, he wouldn't have had a yellow flag or anything, so he's had to just react to immediately what's happening there in front of him, and that shows what you do, and it does show that the brakes do work on these GT3 cars as they go through. And it's Harry Langford now just against Michael Evdoka. Evdoka's trying again through this opening section, but again Langford holds on to that place, takes the defensive line, carries the speed out of that hairpin, but this is where Evdoka's gone alongside. Can he make this move stick? It's side by side. Oh, that Ferrari's unsettled by the curbing there. Through the long right-hander, and wow, that's brave from Evdoka to make that one stick.
Fantastic stuff. Langford did everything he could to try and keep Evdoka at bay, let it run up the racetrack like he'd been doing a few times there at the Hugenholzbock, but great stuff from Evdoka, who finally got the move done and up into second position. But the thing is, Wilson's way down the road. He's 3.4 seconds down the road already. And already Davidson, he did give away quite a bit of time there, avoiding the spinning Jack Sedgwick, but he's clawing that time back very quickly, so he's going to be on the back of Langford very soon.
Grabowski's trying to work his way through the field after starting towards the rear. He's got Rhys Saunders trying to follow him here as well. So Grabowski just made another place up into 18th. That was Jesse Payne Wilkins that he overtook. I want to give you a little bit of a weather update as well. The latest forecast, it has slightly changed from the race start. In sim at 4 p.m. it's saying 10% precipitation. So we are going to get some precipitation before the end of the race, and that has moved to 15 minutes earlier than what we got at the start of the race for the forecast.
Okay, so that's getting closer to the actual pit window, so it could be you've then got a big decision to make at the pit stop. Do you put the wet tyres on at that point, or do you brave it? Do you stay on the slicks?
And I can see the weather radar on my end as there goes Alex Davidson to the inside of Harry Langford, makes the move, makes it stick into turn 9, and that's another place gained. Onto the podium for Alex Davidson. I can tell you from my weather radar that I'm seeing at my end, unfortunately we can't bring it to you at the moment, it's a bit patchy as the rain. It's not like a solid wall of rain like you would get on a grey, damp August or September day in the UK. It's very patchy.
So that then makes the decision so much more difficult then, doesn't it? That do you brave it on the slicks, or do you put the wet tyre on? Very, very tough. Very, very tough. Because the thing is, if you put the wet tyre on and it's too dry, it just overheats and just turns to jelly.
But we also saw at Silverstone, if you put the slick tyre on and it's too wet, you end up like Alex Garland having to pit again.
Yeah, and you're in the fence usually.
Yeah. As down the inside goes that Corvette. Oh, Dennis Grabowski's fine, but there's a spinner behind, and it's Rhys Saunders. Well, talk about the worst way to move up into Pro-Am. Rhys Saunders, he's been facing backwards more than he has forwards, it appears, in this week of racing.
It's not been his day. You think how flawless the season has been as an AM, and then goes up to Pro-Am, same field, same car, same everything, and it's just been a disaster, really.
Just a different sticker on the side of the car, and it seems to have all gone wrong here today. But fortunately for these drivers, they do get drop scores, so they do get to have a bad day at the office and not have that count to their championship points. I want to point out, while we look at this action between Adam Hedgecock and also Will Guthrie, and Phil Samways is in there as well. I want to point out, Victor Wolfson's got a 4-second lead at the front over Michael Evdoka right now. He's got a comfortable margin. He needs to keep pushing though, and he needs to keep working that car forward, as we went on board then with Rhys Saunders, who's trying to recover ahead of Adam Hedgecock, and Alex Davidson has moved ahead of Michael Evdoka at the front of the field. So there's been a change of position.
Well, so, and then wonder if that team order as well let the championship leader through. Evdoka now is going to have, Evdoka is going to be the rear gunner from heaven for Alex Davidson, because Evdoka is going to do everything he can to keep Bume at bay. Let's get a look then, and either that was a big mistake or that's a come on by.
Cashier number 2, please.
Please.
Fortunately, we haven't had a clear up in Hogenholt's spot to deal with out there. But the 2 KRD drivers, Andy Shield, Jake Blackall. Jake is racing from Australia. He's got to deal with Australian internet connection to a European iRacing server, so you always have to race Jake with a little bit of a bubble around him. Whenever I used to race against Jake in touring cars and in a series like this, I always was, okay, I'm close, but I'm giving that extra space to account for Australian internet connection as well. I think 1 or 2 drivers, including Jake himself, don't sometimes take that into account, and that's why he seems to be one of the unluckiest drivers out there.
Yeah, it's one of those unavoidable factors really of racing online, and the technology is absolutely astounding, but there are just 1 or 2 limiting factors, but they are very finite, and like you say, you can drive around them quite comfortably. So 42 minutes to go then, and it's very much in a holding pattern now, waiting for those pit stops to see does anyone throw the dice, or do you let the others make the mistake? Do you go the more safe route? It's a real conundrum.
I think with the threat of rain, you can't afford to pit early.
No,
I think you're basically guaranteeing yourself to... Oh, big accident! Big accident in one of the fastest sections of the track. Car 44 is one of those involved. That's Tom Weston. You've also got Jesse Payne-Wilkins. It's not been a good day for Jesse involved in all of that. And that's Ian Brown. Oh dear, it's not been a stellified second race for him. He's really got in the doldrums there. 2 mechanical meatball warning flags, 1 for Ian Brown, 1 for Tom Weston. But that was a huge incident, as I say, through one of the fastest sections of this track.
Oh dear, and
slightest contact from Brown.
Yeah, but it's just like, go onto the quarter panel at that speed, what do you think is going to happen?
But you only have an aircraft accident at that point.
Exactly, yeah. And then it triggered more pain, Jesse Payne-Wilkins off too.
Pain indeed. Here's Ian Brown trying to recover his car, and he's going to have to park that one. I think it is very second hand. Never raced or rallied, honest Gov.
Cat S.
So we go through Hugenholt's box once again, and so he's got damage from that. Oh, it's the curb that unsettles his car for Ian Brown. He'd had the contact, then that was separate entirely for Ian. Oh, good grief. Nice slow-mo shot that we got there as well. Thank you to our producer Hugo Luis for bringing us that. Best in the business, in my opinion. As 40 minutes remain in this race, Victor Wolfson currently has a 3.8 second lead over Alex Davidson in second place. It's then WSR Esports compatriot and Michael Avdoka in third place is just ahead of James Boumet in fourth. The top Pro-Am is the driver who started on pole position of Harry Langford. He's in fifth place right now. The next best Pro-Am is Lander Engelvelt in seventh place. It's been a really good day at the office for Leander, it must be said, as James Boumet to the inside of Avdoka. Can he make the move stick? They're still going to be side by side, but no, not for the time being for Boumet. But yeah, been a really good day at the office for Engelvelt, as Chris Chatterton is your third place Pro-Am driver. Your top Am, gotta go a bit further down the field here. Ben Altria in 19th, with Ben Bennyworth in 20th and Ben Gregory in 21st. They're your top three in Am, and they're all line astern.
Yeah, and we haven't seen, interestingly, haven't seen the AMs running as high up the order as we did in race one, because we haven't had the big one like we had in race one. But yeah, this is your battle for the AM podium. It's the benevolent society here.
I see what you did there, Peter.
Ben Nevis Club.
Anyway,
Ben.
I don't know how to respond.
Big Ben. Uncle Ben's. They're having Uncle Ben's for dinner.
Well,
I'm all out. I'm all out now.
Thank you, Hugo, for moving forward, because it's Jack Sedgwick, the recovering Jack Sedgwick after that big slide. He's now trying to move forward in all of this and gets ahead of Bacon Zelenka. That's up to 8th place for the Ferrari driver from NX Racing. We've got a car on pit road, so somebody's pitting early. It's Ben Hackerson. So, I mean, remember, he did have that contact after the Hans Ernst bocht through the chicane. He's taking a pit stop now, but with rain on its way, is he maybe, I don't know, maybe he's gambling that the rain won't be hard enough and he can get fresh tyres on and get them up to temperature.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is the tyre temperature. We've seen that bite a few drivers already, so you've got to be very careful on that, particularly around that first section as well. 37 minutes on the clock, so that's our kind of first driver to blink on the pit stops. I think we'll see it far more into the race, to really the very, very last moment, or certainly at least to when the rain comes, if it comes.
Well, it's on its way. I can tell you it is on its way, as they go clattering over the curbs to Leander Engelvelt and Jack Sedgwick. Engelvelt just running out into the grass there, compromises exit, but stays ahead for the time being. Now, this is where we saw Jack Sedgwick make the move on the previous lap into the slipstream of that Porsche, and that Ferrari with its turbocharged engine nicely spooled up in towards Tarzan, onto the brakes, and Jack Sedgwick moving back through the field into 7th place. The problem for him was he was in 4th at one point.
So Sedgwick, yeah, I just thought he's on the recovery, isn't he, in 7th, with Leander Engelvelt behind him in that Porsche. And yeah, Sedgwick, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, if to lose it at that point of the circuit, I mean, to be able to just pull first gear and drive off again, that's a result here at Zandvoort, because the walls, as you can see, are very, very close in certain places.
They are. I mean, it's a massive gravel trap on the outside of the corner there, but the way his car was spinning, it was almost like it was going to send it to the inside. And it's a straight arm curb barrier there. It's not tyre barriers, it's not Tech Pro barriers or anything like that. So it would have been something very solid for him to make contact with. Now, Nathan Moore is putting pressure on our pole sitter of Harry Langford. The Quatermass car staying ahead for the time being, but the WSR Esports Porsche of Nathan Moore is behind. Now, can he use the grunt of this Porsche, naturally aspirated car. That Ferrari got a really good run through the penultimate corner, through Harry Lyondike corner, and down the start and finish straight again they go. As meanwhile, James Boumet making the move on Michael Evdoka for third place. Evdoka's going to stay ahead though still. They stay as they were for the time being, but Boumet, I think he's desperate to get ahead, because you called it right, Peter. Evdoka's been a great wingman for Alex Davidson.
As and the worst nightmare for James Boumet, absolute worst nightmare. James Boumet is not able to get by, and this is having bullets in the gun for a team is so important. If you've got good allies, good teammates, it makes such a difference. And yeah, for Evdoka, he's going to be driving in a completely different way as if he was racing somebody else. He's going to be knowing that James Boumet is his teammates, probably one of the most, one of the closest challengers in the championship. It's ideal for Evdoka to be able to hold off Boumet and allow Davidson to escape.
I can tell you that the relative humidity has increased from the start of the race as well. We're up to 84% now. There's the weather conditions on the screen right now, and you see 84% humidity. Mostly cloudy. The clouds are coming in, so drivers are going to be conscious of that. They do have a little bit of advice that they can look at in terms of what weather's coming in, but they can't see the radar that we can see behind the scenes here, so they've got to play it by ear and be on the right tyre at the right time, and that's going to be the most difficult part of it, as Nathan Moore backs off of Harry Langford, because all of a sudden Jack Sedgwick is right there with the two of them.
Yeah, Sedgwick, see, on the recovery, he was right there with your Davidson and Evdoka and Boumet, etc. But yeah, that's really costly error. Victor Wilson, is that gap coming down? No, Wilson was actually quicker than Davidson last time by about a tenth and a half. So that gap staying fairly steady. This is more going to come down to, I think, who makes the right call on tyres. It looks, is it me, or is it looking a little darker?
Yes, it certainly is looking darker. Those clouds are coming in, so yeah, drivers are going to be looking up to the heavens. If they have got somebody spotting for them, they'll be there going, I can see the clouds, they're coming in, and the spotter up there going, yeah,
I'm at the fish and chip van on the beach. And it's raining. It's spitting at the fish and chip van.
Would you like some 5-lap averages, as there is the cloud coverage?
Well, so we've got to know who we've got to give the Paul Smith Silver Salver to.
Well, as he crosses the line now, I can tell you that Victor Wolfson, his average lap time is a 1:33.897 compared to Alex Davidson's 1:33.914. So there's not even 0.02 of a second average difference between the two of them. That gap is staying stable. What isn't staying stable is down the inside, because Jack Sedgwick on Nathan Moore. Sedgwick on the move, up into 6th place now. He's got Harry Langford ahead of him, but then there's a big old gap between Langford and Boumet for 4th place. But Sedgwick is doing his best here to move through the field.
Yeah, and Langford's got to play this one clever too, because he's got, obviously two really strong pro drivers behind him, but he's got the Pro-Am class to try and win, to try and get that in the bag, and doesn't want to get tangled up too much and then ending up falling back into the clutches of Leander Angeveld in the Porsche, who's not that far behind. In fact, there he is, right at the back of the shot there. So there isn't much between our two leaders in Pro-Am either.
I mean, I'm looking at the standings. Harry Langford in Pro-Am was 21st coming into this week, and Leander Angeveld was 23rd. And you could see how those results from the first race, and now potentially in the second race, could really help them make some moves up the field here as well. Sedgwick was rather gifted the position by Langford, and I think that was very clever from Harry to not fight that one too hard. So the front two are the only two that are staying consistently in the 133s. Everybody else is in 134s, 135s in this race. But one thing I have noticed, not a single other person has made a scheduled pit stop yet. It's just Ben Hackerson who has done that.
I think they're all holding it off as long as they possibly can. Don't pit before you have to. You need to try and figure out what the weather's going to do. It's probably just dark clouds, probably just circling over Alkmaar or maybe Schiphol Airport or something like that right now.
Well, in sim, the time is 13:55. At 4 o'clock, so 1600, it was due 10% potential of precipitation. That jumps up to 76% at 4:15. So there is rain coming. They might get the few spots to start with around 4 o'clock. It's how you then deal with that and how you keep your tyres in temperature to go as long as possible. Harry Langford's dropping down the order. Oh, something's happened to Harry. He's there somewhere. Well, he's got going again, but that's down to 12th place now. That was at turn 10.
Oh dear, what's gone on there? What's gone on there with the 63 of Harry Langford? Oh dear, oh, he's lost it by himself. No. And Leander Angeveld, there he goes. He's thinking Merry Christmas to me, as does Chris Chatterton, as does Nick Kirstens.
Yeah, so Leander Angeveld looking for the first AM win here in this season. Ben Altria's had a spin out there, but is back up and running. So a few drivers just suddenly carrying a little bit too much speed through corners and getting caught out here in this one. Taylor Lane is pitting now. We're just past the halfway point of the race. 28 minutes remain. Taylor Lane's decided that that's a pit stop and it's not a penalty. I was just having a look to see whether it was a drive-through penalty or not, but no, it isn't.
So the gap is coming down a little at the front of the field. The gap is now, yeah, it was just underneath 3 seconds now. So Davidson is closing in on Wilson. So could Davidson be in the pound seat here to try and get a double victory and extend his championship advantage even further? I mean, what result that would be. And I think if you know all the points, they count the same whether at whatever point of the season you score them, but get the points on the board now and build up a lead, and you can just drive so much freer.
Adam Hedgecock has just left pit road as well after making a pit stop, so that's a pit stop for Adam out there. As there we see Jake Blackall behind Harry Langford. This is 2 Pro-Ams. Ferrari versus Porsche. Adam Watson in the Audi, the ever exciting Adam Watson in the Audi behind, going down the pit straight and through the gut. So into Tarzan once again. 26.5 minutes remaining. It's brightened up a little bit in the sky there, but that rain, it is coming. I can assure you, I keep on promising this rain, Peter, and it's coming. It's definitely coming. Honest.
I believe you. I believe you.
Oh, there we go. We've got the radar. We've got the radar on.
Oh, right over. Now, is that so? That's coming from. That's coming from the west. Is that a northeast? Yeah. So that's. I'm trying to imagine where that is. Is that from over the sea? Yes, it is. It is from over the sea. Yeah.
Yeah. That rain's going to hit Harry Lyondike. Oh my goodness, what a corner for the rain to hit first. Harry Lyondike box, the last corner, banked corner, one of the fastest corners of the track. You don't have a small accident there either, it must be said.
No, and it almost feels like a street circuit, like a Macau there, because you've got the wall is quite close on the inside. It's a bit more on the outside, but yeah, it's fast. It's very fast through there. So yeah, the drivers, they'll be aware. They'll know that this rain's on the way, but they'll be waiting for it to start before making that call in the pits.
Well, the thing is, it's just a little bit of a light rain to start with. It's a very light blue. It's started. It has started as that rain, yes. Who's going to be the first to blink in all of this?
Nobody on that time by. You know, and it looked from the radar there that it wasn't going to be just a tiny drop either. Mike Barber is the first. So he's our guinea pig. But will he put the wets on?
I think that's too early for wets.
It really depends just how quick it comes in.
Yeah, it does, and how light or how heavy the water is. As it's going over half of the track, but it's that very light blue on the radar, so that means it's a very, very light rain.
It's spitting.
It's spitting. Everybody in!
Everybody in!
I mean, officially, the track is still considered dry. Officially. So we haven't got that yet, but you can see little tails now coming off the tyres. Victor Wolfson's in! Wolfson's into the pits. This is going to be a big call.
This is more than spitting. Now, look at the rain now. The rain's starting to come down big time now, way more.
It's not enough for rain tyres, I don't think.
I don't know, but do you, when you're in the pits though, do you fit them and hope that it just keeps raining? Has Wilson gone too early?
Oh, well, this is where we get to find out. Wolfson, 23 seconds, 24, 25, 26. He's doing the full set of tyres. That can only mean wet.
Yeah, I mean, his last lap, with Davidson's last lap was a 1:33.7, so there's the pace was right on what it was before it started raining. So, but this lap could be very different. Let's see.
Has Wolfson got a penalty? He has. Wolfson's got a penalty.
Oh, dear.
He's still stuck in the pit box. It must have crossed the line incorrectly. Coming onto pit road, he's got a penalty, and he's got to serve that in the pit box. Well, it was a good lead that Victor had, and that's all gone to naught.
That's really, really frustrating. Well, hopefully he put wet tyres on, because it seems like that rain is going to keep going. Or is it? Oh, I don't know.
Well,
yeah, you can see the spray. You can see the spray coming up from behind the cars. That's always a factor now. Oh, brave boys here. Alex Davidson, Michael Avdoka and James Boumé, they're carrying on. So is Davidson, and pace-wise, they're about a second off,
yeah,
which isn't extreme, but I bet you this will be a lot more so.
You want to be seeing at least sort of 4-5 seconds drop off before you pit in, really. Kirsten to Langford, Watson, Blackhall, they're coming onto pit road now. Jamie Rushworth onto pit road as well. They're deciding that this is the time for them to take tyres. They're seeing lap times drop off. It's whether it's dropping off enough. Oh, this is tricky. This is why I love this. I just don't think it's wet enough at the moment, personally.
No, it doesn't seem like it, but I think... And then you look over there and you look at the sky, and it's blue sky. You think, oh, this rain can't be around for long, but then it is dropping at certain points. I think it's actually stopped raining again. Oh.
I think it's stopped raining now.
It has. Is it blown through?
Look, you can see on the radar that rain shower has gone past now.
Yes, but is it going to rain again?
Well, this is where you need to be on the right tyres that are right for the conditions at that time.
Yeah, so I think it's at the moment trying to survive on the dry tyre, keep fuel saving, which of course will be easier when you're surviving on a dry, well, in wet conditions. You're always using less fuel than you are in the dry, just using less throttle.
Davidson 36.3 last lap, so that's about
3 seconds.
Well, 2.5 seconds, yeah. That he's dropped off.
And the others are, but Boumé was 5 seconds slower last time by.
Yeah, Jack Blackhall has had a spin out there somewhere. Nick Kirsten's here. We're looking at onto the brakes. Kirsten's, has he pitted? Yes, he has. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is dramatic. This is what we love. This is why we love motorsport, everybody. You want the drama, you want the excitement. Well, we've got a pit party on pit road right now. Walker, Grabowski, Zelenka, Gregory, Samways, Guthrie, Altria and Spencer all on pit road right now getting their pit stops. They're up on the jacks getting tyres changed, but is it correct to change onto wets? From what we're seeing here, Peter, I don't think it is right now.
No, it just seems like you've got to just try and survive. At least for a few more laps, run that fuel tank as deep as you can go and wait to see what happens. It's a relatively short lap here at Zandvoort, so if it really dumps down, you're not going to get too badly caught out. It's not like it's Spa where you could leave yourself with 2.5 minutes to get round or longer. So yeah, the moment of Doka coming in, so if Doka is going to try and see what's what. So Davidson and Bumi very much shadowing one another here.
Up onto the jacks. Nathan Moore onto pit road. Chris Chatterton onto pit road as well. Rhys Saunders as a pit stop. Axel Sliptrovic has had one pit stop already. However, that was at the start of the race to get a fix on his car. Lap time wise, looking at Engelvelt, for example, 140.5 last lap. He's had multiple laps out of the pits. Alex Davidson, a 35.7. Wet weather tyres are about 5 seconds slower than your leader.
Well, how much longer can Davidson and Bumi circle round? Because it's a lot more intense rain circling around right now, but is it going to actually blow past the circuit and miss it? By that graphic, it looks like it might just do that, because obviously the darker green is the more intense rain that would change the status quo, but the light blue rain's not really that much of an issue on the graphic.
Yeah, so we are getting reports, and thank you to Kawari, saying that they are saying that Jack Sedgwick stayed on slicks, which would be an interesting call if he has done that. Alex Davidson, James Boumet onto pit road. Change of tyres for Davidson, although he wasn't on the jacks for long. It's hard to call this one. 13.5 seconds. That's not a full change of tyres. Maybe he's done a cross. Maybe he's gone rally style. He's put a wet on the right rear and the front left. Sedgwick's still out there. He's pitted, sorry, is Sedgwick. Here comes Boumet out of pit road, and Sedgwick's going to jump him here. And Sedgwick's lap there, that's his out lap, a 2:03. So we're going to have to wait another lap for Sedgwick before we get a representative lap time as to what he's doing. But yeah, this is exciting. This is what I like. Now, I don't want to worry those drivers if any of them did stay on the full wet tyres, but I'm looking at the zoomed out radar, and there's a blob of yellow coming. Just that's bad. There. Now that you do not want to be on wets for. On dries. On dries, sorry. You want wets. You want wets for that. Yes, yeah. But is that going to arrive in the next 15 minutes? That's the question. Is that a move there for Bumi? No, Sliptrovic goes through on Evdoka. 34.5 from Sliptrovic, because of course he's still on slicks because he pitted early due to damage. So yes. He's not really in play here for position, although he's giving us a good baseline as to what the slick tyres can do. Very interesting. Yeah, he is giving us a great impression, isn't he? And yeah, carving through the field. 15 minutes to go. Those who are on wets, they're saying, "Come on, rain! You were meant to be. You're meant to be here by now." It's a Ferrari strategy, isn't it? Put them on the wets when it's bone dry. Showing that it's not quite as easy as it sounds. Yes, absolutely. Jack Sedgwick, he is on slicks. 33.2 from Sedgwick on that last lap.
Well, that's his best lap of the race so far. So clearly the track is perfect
for now. I'll tell you what, this is the best thing that iRacing have done in years. Possibly the best thing they've ever done, in my opinion. It's fantastic.
And it is, and the level of accuracy and realism and simulation of how this situation would play out in the real world, it's so good. I mean, it took a lot. These things didn't get technology at this level. It takes a lot of time and a lot of manpower, and that's exactly what they've deployed to it, and not rushed it out and deployed it now. Is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Nathan Moore, 34.9 in third place. I think Nathan is on slick tyres because he just overtook James Boumet on this lap. So Boumet, I think, possibly could be on wet tyres right now. It's just not the right tyre. Alex Davidson, 33.7. He's on slicks at the moment with that type of lap time. I'm seeing a lot of 38s and 39s from drivers. They must be the drivers that are on the wet tyre.
Yeah, will be, and it will just be like chewing gum. So into the pits then comes Litchevich, because of course he had to pit, as you said, Paul, had to pit early because of damage. So this is more just because he hasn't got any fuel left, so I had to keep going.
The rain's coming.
Okay.
It is coming right now. It's the rain. It's going to start raining again.
Oh, and you can see already straight away the spray from behind the wheels. So this is going to be our switchover point, and it's coming in, and it's going to come in hard, surely.
Yeah, dark green colours, so it's going to be a bit harder than that first lot of rain. So if you're on slicks right now, if you pitted and put on slicks, because at that time it was the right tyre for the conditions, you've now got a very difficult choice to make.
Yeah, you do. And last time by, Cedric said his best lap of the race again. So Cedric's flying. So he's saying, no, stay away, Rain, stay away. He's actually, I think it's because that little light shower cooled the track down, and of course the Ferrari needs the cooler track temperature, and then the speed just comes. Yeah,
it certainly does. And with roughly about 7.5 laps remaining, I say roughly, 12 minutes remaining in this race. Oh, this is going to be an exciting end to the race. Reece Saunders to the inside of Harry Langford. That's a change of position there. And Reece is making a look for Nick Kirstens as well. So Reece is making some moves through this field. 36.0 was his last lap. I have a funny feeling that's going to be slipshod as that car, but look at the rain. It's coming down now as we reach this part of the track, and it's getting heavier, is that rain. Oh, what do people do? Well, if you're at the front, you've got to hang it out and try and hold on to it.
Either Reece Saunders is the absolute rain master, or he's on wets and the rest are on slicks, because he's carving through them like they're standing still. If he falls back now, then he's not on. He's on slicks, and the rest are on wets. Because now here comes the rain properly.
Ben Gregory's had a spin out there. So too is number 35, which is Ben Pennyworth. That's on the exit of the chicane. So there's Gregory. Oh, onto the curb. Round he goes into the tyre wall. Oh, loses his rear wing, and Ben Pennyworth behind. And I think it's maybe some drivers that are on slick tyres are now hitting that rainfall. And look at it. Look at the spray now.
I think Saunders on wets, he's got to be. Yeah. Because he's just pulling away when in those wet sections, so he's got to be on wets. So we believe, and in Blackhall, no grip at all. We believe Cedric's on a slick, and
Davidson as well. Cedric's pitting. Cedric is onto pit road. I think he's had to. Davidson's carrying on.
Are we sure that Davidson's on a...
Well, with the lap times he was doing... Oh, there's a spin, and that's Davidson!
Yeah,
that's your
there you go.
leader.
There's your answer.
He is. Oh, look at the cars. They are squirreling and they are moving about a lot. So Davidson, he still hangs on to the lead, but only just. James Bumay's in second place. Michael Avdoka's in third place because of Cedric pitting. Nathan Moore's pitted as well. And Davidson, I think he's left it a lap too late. There's Adam Hedgecock with dramas. There's also one of the Quatermass cars was involved in that as well. I think this is going to be carnage if people don't pit.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. And could Sedgwick, with the first one to go to wet tyres, could he then play a real blinder here? So who else do we think put wets on at that first stop? Rhys Saunders, I guess.
Possibly. There's Hedgecock, just loses it himself. Oh, yeah, and that Quatermass car come through. Davidson was sideways through that corner. Look at the spray. Oh, there's so this is Alex Davidson from earlier in the lap, and he just no grip whatsoever.
Nope, like ice. Just nothing to do there at all. So this is, oh dear, this is really nervy now.
Davidson's off again in the gravel, I can tell you. Off screen, is back on though, but he is struggling.
He's still being shown as leading. His lead's gone up. His lead's gone up.
Well, remember,
Saunders has lost it.
Yeah, Saunders into the wall. And Davidson's pitted. It's the only decision you can make. Ben Gregory's onto pit road as well. Oh my goodness. Now, James Bumay, what tyres is he on? Nick Kirstens has found the wall now. I think everybody was on slicks by the looks of things, apart from one or two.
Seems like it. And now, or
Bumay is in the lead.
Or was Bumay on wets? Or was he on a cross? Who knows?
You can cross the tyres.
Yeah. Is he on a cross? Because he wasn't totally full wet off the pace. He'd lost a few seconds, but is he?
And look at Sedgwick.
Yeah.
He's got the jump. He was 9.5 seconds behind Davidson just a lap ago.
Yep. But he made the call quicker, and yeah, this is still anybody's race. Anybody's race.
Well, we've got 7.5 minutes remaining. Avdoka and Bumay are up at the front. You can't cross the tyres, it forces it. Thank you very much for that knowledge there. So you cannot cross the tyres here, Peter. Which is a shame, because I would have done the old touring car trick of putting wet tyres on one end and slicks on the others. Yeah,
that's a rally trick, doing the crossing them diagonally across the car. But okay, so what do we think? Was Bumay then just surviving on the wets?
Well, his last lap was a 47.8. Michael Avdoka was a 49.5. So you could tell how much the pace has dropped off for them.
Yeah, but it's still not. That's only 14 seconds off the absolute outright dry pace. So that doesn't say to me that they're on. excuse me, that they're on slick surviving. No. That says to me they were on wets all along.
Well, this could be the greatest decision and strategy call that we have seen, and we said right at the start of this race, Peter, that strategy would be key in this race. We just didn't think it was going to be quite this late after all the pit stops.
Well, we did say that rain was coming. The forecast has proven true. So the iRacing weather app definitely playing well.
The 6 minutes though, Peter. I mean, Adam Watson, get this, 22 places gained. Dennis Grabowski, I know he started towards the rear, 29 places gained. He's in 5th place right now.
It's quite remarkable.
Side by side through the final corner, and there was a twitch from Axel Slijepčević's car on the inside through the gut. Rain and water pouring off of the back of these cars, but it's an 12 second lead for James Bumay. He was nearly 4 seconds quicker than Michael Avdoka on that last lap alone.
Wow, remarkable. Oh, who's that in the wall? Oh, it's Adam Watson. Oh no.
Meanwhile, it's not been a good season for Adam Watson. I think it's safe to say the calm, sensible, championship-winning Adam Watson has left the building. I think it's safe to say in this one. And, well, here's a replay. He's lost it through the right-hander there, so it's not even into the hairpin.
Easy done there. Yeah, very easy done, especially in these conditions. Yeah. Oh, there's just nothing there.
Yeah. That Audi has looked awful, and not just Adam Watson,
undrivable.
Everyone.
Yeah, undrivable. Which makes Bume's performance all the more incredible, what he's been able to do. He's now nearly 14 seconds ahead of Ivdoka. He's 4 seconds quicker than him on the last lap. So Bume, the Rainmeister, he's making whatever that Audi's foibles are, for whatever reason, Bume is able to make it work when no one else can.
Jack Sedgwick is not quite lapping a second quicker than Ivdoka, so I think he might just end up in third place for Jack. I could tell you that Alex Davidson has been off at the first corner at Tarzan, but has carried on. He showed up as a yellow flag on my track map. These two have shown up as a yellow flag as well. Nick Kirsten's one of them. He's had issues out there. Car 44's at a stop. That's Tom Weston. It's not been a good day for Tom. Oh, the full tilt car just gets into Nick Kirsten's. Oh, gets attacked from the rear, does the full tilt car as well, for good measure. And, well, did wait, to be fair, but has caused enough damage to mean that car won't be carrying on in a straight line for Kirsten's, as there's Nathan Healy now having a spin in all of this. I mean, we praised the drivers at Silverstone for their dry weather driving, as actually Angelveld has just passed Chris Chatterton, who went off into the gravel trap. So that's a change in Pro-Am lead now, Peter.
Yeah, Angerveld up to 6th overall, in place to score a big chunk of points. Yeah, fantastic job as all the drivers trying some totally alternative lines to try and find grip somewhere on the track if they can, and just trying to search for it. But there's not a great deal of it around, to be fair.
Harry Langford, to be fair to him, hasn't given up in this race. Started on pole position. Remember, was put down the field, but is looking really handy here and could potentially get second place in Pro-Am here. Down the inside into the penultimate corner. You've got to be careful, and that outside line is actually a little bit quicker through there because you're getting up off of the rubber. It's less slick.
So yeah, that's where the experience comes in of knowing how to drive in these conditions. 2 laps to go it will be, and last time by Bume still quicker again than Ivdoka. He was last time by 2.6 seconds quicker last time by. Oh,
that's what's happened to Ben Bennyworth on this lap. Just get the car to the end, Ben. Adam Watson's had enough of a spin out there, I could tell you as well. Oh boy, well, I tell you what, the rain stopped again. And it's the same corner for Adam. Oh dearie me, I think he's going to be praying for the end of this race. Well, fortunately for him, it's just enough for a minute and 15 seconds to go.
I think, to be honest, it's at the point, to be honest, wet or dry, do you take the penalty now and change car? Because it looks undrivable. But then his teammates winning the race by 16 seconds, so it's but then you do get cars like that just seem to suit one particular driver and only that driver.
Yeah, you do, absolutely. I mean, you put Adam Watson in a Porsche in the 911 and he
championship winner. Yeah, in class. Yeah.
It's funny how it goes. I can understand why you want all of your team in the same car, so you can share setups, so you can work together and do all of that. But if you're comfortable in a car, why would you want to change? But there you go. Down the inside goes Bacon Zelenka. Can't quite make the move done on Chris Chatterton. We're on to the last lap of this race. And your race leaders through turn 9 already, so these are the final opportunities for people to make some moves here in this one. It has been a thrilling second race after the carnage of the first race. This second race has been a really good one, and the weather has spiced things up nicely. James Boumet, though, well, what can we say about him? He's gained 8 places in this race. He was nowhere near the leaders when it came to the pit stop cycle, and yet he's called this weather absolutely spot on in terms of getting onto the wet weather tyres. It's worked out nicely for him. Through the final corner comes James Boumet, and he's going to take a race win here. First of the season for the Altitude Esports by 3M driver in round number 7 of the World GT Championship. Michael Evdurka, a lonely second place. Is he going to be overtaken by Jack Sedgwick through the last corner? I think Sedgwick wanted another lap at that one. Although, oh no, it's a change of position. Evdurka, has he got a slow down penalty right at the end? Well, he crosses the line only just now. Alex Davidson finishes ahead of him.
Was that deliberate, maybe?
I don't know. Well, Leander Engelvelt, we'll have to dissect that afterwards. Engelvelt, though, had an awful start to the season, has turned things around today and takes a Pro-Am win here at Zandvoort. We'll look further down the order, and in fact, it's Jonathan Walker, the man who was stone dead last at the start of the first race. He's found himself in 16th place in this race. It's a gain of 13 places in the end of this one. And the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge Driver through the final corner. Mr. 3M himself, he'll be kitted out in those 3M gloves, which you can buy from the 3M website. Terms and conditions apply, ask for written details. But across the line, he takes an AM win here, does Jonathan Walker.
Fantastic stuff for Johnny Walker there after such a difficult race. One, to survive these difficult conditions and come out with an AM class win. Fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. Well, across the line, your final drivers. I can tell you a number of drivers with 2, even one with 3 pit stops. Ben Gregory with 3 pit stops. So, yeah, difficult day out there for drivers. But let's take a look at your race results then. It's James Boumet for Altitude Esports by 3M. He takes the win then by almost 20 seconds over Jack Sedgwick for Inex Racing in second place. Alex Davidson in third place ahead of his WSR Esports compatriot Michael Evdurka in fourth. Dennis Grabowski fifth, and then your top Pro-Am, Leander Engelvelt, 6th place for the Racing Lab Esports powered by Ford. He himself driving a Porsche, so not on brand there, but still gets the result. Nathan Moore ahead of Axel Sliptrovich. Harry Langford, after starting on pole position, he finishes in 9th place ahead of Bacon Zelenka. 11th place, 3rd place in Pro-Am will go through for Full Tilt Racing ahead of Chris Chadderton. Adam Watson, the spinning top, out there in 13th ahead of Jamie Rushworth and Jake Blackhall. Johnny Walker, 16th place overall, your top AM driver for the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. Phil Samways and Andy Shield ahead of Ben Altria, and Jesse Payne Wilkins rounds out your top 20. 21st, Ben Hackerson ahead of Mike Barber, Ben Gregory, Taylor Lane, Ben Bennyworth and Nick Kirstens then in 26th, and drivers 2 laps down or more, Adam Hedgecock, Nathan Healy, Tom Weston and Reece Saunders. What a day to move to Pro-Am for Reece Saunders. Joe Spencer ahead of Victor Wolfson, Richard Simner, Ian Brown, Mark Fletcher and Andrew Fairley round out your 36 drivers. Well, Peter, we actually have a different driver for the interviews, and it is your race 2 winner, James Boumet with Peter Mackay.
James, congratulations on an amazing victory.
Oh no, I can't hear you, Paul. Oh, Peter, sorry. Hang on.
How about now?
The joys of live broadcasting is what we've got now. Hopefully James can hear us. He can't hear us because he'd be responding to us. We'll give him one more chance to get his stuff sorted here, Peter. Don't you just love live broadcasting, Peter? You'd know all about that, wouldn't you, for the weekend?
Yeah, we love live broadcasting, yes. But, I mean, can't wait to hear from James, because it must have been quite a journey of a race when you think about it, to start off in dry and then, do we go to dry, do we go to wet? So we're going to get the story here, hopefully, of how things looked through that race. James, have you got a copy? Doesn't look good, does it?
That would be enough.
I don't know what's going on.
Unfortunately, we can't wait forever because we're past our finish time, unfortunately. It would have been great to hear from James, but technical issues is what we've got there. What we will do is we'll quickly talk about what's coming up this season, because after interesting rounds here at Zandvoort, next week is an endurance event at Suzuka, Peter. I mean, it's one of my favourite tracks in the world of motorsport, and quite frankly, it always produces some great action.
It does. It's an iconic circuit, designed by the very same man who designed this circuit, John Hugenholtz, or Hans-Jan Hugenholtz as he's sometimes known as. It's iconic place, known for the Suzuka 1000 kilometers back in the 80s, now Suzuka 10 hours, and of course the Suzuka 8-hour motorcycle race, an iconic motorcycle race. But the World GT Championship go there next time out, and in Japan the weather can change very dramatically too, so we could see even more fun and games with dry and wet weather.
Yeah, we certainly could do. So make sure you join us next week at 8 p.m. British time, British summer time, for all the action here for the World GT Championship on RaceSpotTV. It's been a mixed bag here today for the World GT Championship, but make sure you join us for an hour and 45 minutes of action next time out at Suzuka. From me, Paul Smith, from Peter Mackay, Hugo Luis on production here for RaceSpotTV. It's goodbye.